I read my wife's diary. I cheated on my husband once, but he doesn't know, so I made sure she lost everything and watched her regret it all. I never considered myself the kind of guy who snoops. I always believed that trust was the foundation of any solid marriage. That's how I lived with my wife, Emily, for the past 6 years. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but nothing ever felt broken. Or at least, that's what I thought. The diary wasn't hidden in some locked drawer or behind a false wall. It was tucked under the bed, next to a box of old photo albums. I stumbled across it while looking for the charger she always borrowed and never returned. At first, I wasn't going to open it. I really wasn't. But curiosity has a way of creeping up on you when something doesn't feel quite right. The leather cover was worn, with her initials stamped in gold. The first few pages were innocent. Random thoughts, plans, frustrations about work, even grocery lists. But about a third of the way in, my stomach dropped. There it was. A page titled, Things I Regret. And right there, written in her neat handwriting. I cheated on my husband once, but he still doesn't know. I read that sentence about 5 times, hoping that maybe, just maybe, I misunderstood. But no, it was there, clear as day. My fingers felt numb as I kept reading. She went on to write how it happened about 2 years ago. A work trip. Some conference in Chicago. She'd gone out for drinks with a group, and apparently, things just happened with one of her coworkers. His name wasn't mentioned. She claimed it was just one time, that it was a mistake, that she never told me because it would ruin everything we built. She justified it, saying she loved me and didn't want to lose me, that telling me would cause pain for something that didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything? I closed the diary and just sat there on the bedroom floor. Everything around me felt different. The same house, the same furniture, the same wedding photos on the dresser, but now it all felt hollow. For about 10 minutes, I did nothing. Just sat there, staring at the floor. Part of me wanted to confront her right away. Another part wanted to walk out the door and never look back. But the biggest part of me wanted to think. What hurt the most wasn't just the cheating. It was the fact that she'd lived next to me every day since, pretending like nothing ever happened. We had celebrated anniversaries, holidays, family gatherings, while she carried this secret. I didn't say anything that night. I acted completely normal when she came home from her yoga class. We had dinner like usual, talked about weekend plans. She even kissed me goodnight. Meanwhile, my mind was already racing. I started going through memories, trying to figure out if there were signs I'd missed. Little lies. Schedule changes. Was she texting someone? Was that coworker still around? Did it really only happen once? Or was there more? Sleep didn't come easy that night. By morning, my anger had settled into something colder, clarity. I wasn't going to explode. I wasn't going to yell. No, I wanted her to feel what it was like to be betrayed without warning. To lose something you thought was safe. I opened my laptop, checked our joint accounts, checked the assets, car titles, house deeds, savings, everything. I spent the day quietly meeting with an attorney. Turns out, the laws in our state didn't favor cheaters, especially when there was written proof of infidelity. Her own words, in her own handwriting. She had no idea the storm that was coming. And the thing is, I wasn't just going to divorce her. I was going to make sure she regretted every single choice that led to that diary entry. For the next few days, I played the role of the perfect husband. Smiling, laughing, making her coffee in the morning like I always did. I even suggested a date night for the upcoming weekend. She had no clue, no idea that behind every smile, every casual, I love you, was a man calculating his exit. I spent those days preparing, quietly closing the gaps that could hurt me later. I opened a separate bank account under my name only, transferred my paychecks over, checked the credit cards, froze the ones that had my name attached. My lawyer advised me to gather every piece of evidence I could. Photos of the diary pages, screenshots of financial records, copies of property deeds. You know what's crazy? Once you start looking at things through a different lens, you realize how blind you've been. There were things, little moments that made sense now. Times when she was working late, but would come home with barely a word. Random arguments over nothing. Almost like she was trying to pick a fight, maybe to justify whatever guilt she carried. Times when her phone was suddenly face down, or when she'd jump at a notification and silence it. But I ignored it. I trusted her. I was the idiot who thought love was enough. By Thursday, I was ready. I even booked a hotel room for the night I planned to leave. I wasn't about to spend another second under the same roof after she knew what I knew. Friday evening came. She walked in, tired, setting her purse down like always. Hey babe, she smiled. Dinner or takeout? I gestured toward the table where I'd already set 2 plates. Cooked tonight. Figured we could use a nice meal together. She actually looked surprised. Ah, that's sweet. Yeah, sweet. She had no idea. We ate. Small talk. Weekend plans. She scrolled through her phone between bites, probably texting her friends, or God knows who. When dinner was done, I cleared the plates, told her to sit and relax. Came back with her diary in my hand. Placed it right in front of her on the table. Her eyes landed on it, then slowly drifted up to meet mine. For a moment, neither of us said anything. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the clock ticking on the wall. "What's this?" she asked, but her voice was thinner now. Cautious. "You tell me," I said quietly. Her hand hovered near it, but didn't touch it. I leaned forward. Page 74. About halfway down. She didn't move, didn't breathe, so I opened it for her, turned it to the page, slid it toward her, and I sat back, waiting. She stared at it, reading. I could see her chest rising a little faster, her lips pressing together. "Look, she started, but I cut her off. "Don't," I said, calm as ever. "Don't even start." Her hands shook slightly as she tried to form words. "It was years ago. It didn't mean anything. It was a mistake. I didn't want to hurt you." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, you didn't want to hurt me. So you wrote it down instead. Kept it like a souvenir." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. "You could have come clean. You could have told me. You chose not to." "It was just once," she whispered. "It meant nothing." "Yeah, funny how it meant nothing to you. But it means everything to me." Tears welled in her eyes now. "Please, don't do this. We can work through this. Please." I stood up, walked to the counter, grabbed an envelope I prepared earlier, slid it across the table. Inside, copies of the divorce papers, bank account transfers, and a letter from my lawyer. She opened it. Her face went pale. "I'm done," I said, grabbing my keys. "You don't deserve me." And with that, I walked out. But this wasn't over. The real revenge? That was still coming. I sat in my car for a moment after leaving. The house I once called home felt like nothing more than a hollow structure now. Part of me expected her to come running out the door, but she didn't. Maybe she was too stunned. Or maybe she knew deep down this day was always coming. But walking away wasn't enough. Not for what she did. You see, betrayal like this isn't just about the cheating. It's about the fact that someone you loved, someone you trusted more than anyone else, chose to lie. Every day, smiling in your face, sharing a bed, planning a future, while knowing full well they were hiding a secret that would destroy you. That kind of damage doesn't just deserve a quiet exit. It deserves consequences. Over the next week, I went to work. I notified my lawyer to proceed aggressively. With her diary entry as written proof, infidelity was clearly documented. In our state, that carried serious weight in divorce court, especially since I'd already separated finances before confronting her. She didn't take it well. She texted, called, left voicemails. Some were full of apologies. Others were angry, accusing me of blowing up our marriage over one mistake. One message stuck with me. "I didn't think you'd actually leave me over this." Imagine thinking that. Imagine believing someone should stick around after you've betrayed them because you thought they wouldn't have the backbone to walk away. News traveled fast in our friend circle. A few mutual friends reached out, some trying to stay neutral, others choosing sides. She spun her version of the story, of course. Claimed it was years ago, that he's overreacting, that we could have worked it out if he wasn't so stubborn. But the truth has a funny way of catching up. Turns out, she wasn't entirely clean beyond that one-night stand she wrote about. As the weeks unfolded, I started hearing whispers. Mutual acquaintances told me she had been overly friendly with more than one co-worker over the years. Nothing ever proven, but enough smoke to suggest fire. Did it hurt? Of course it did. But you know what hurt worse? Wasting years on someone who didn't value loyalty the way I did. The day of the court hearing, she walked in looking like a shell of the woman I once knew. Her lawyer tried to downplay the diary as private thoughts not meant to be evidence. The judge didn't agree. In fact, the judge was pretty blunt. When someone chooses to document their own infidelity, it becomes more than a private thought. It's an admission. I walked out of court with the house, the majority of our joint assets, and a settlement that favored me heavily. Her face when the judgment was read. That was the moment I realized. This was real. This was done. No screaming. No theatrics. Just reality hitting her like a brick. She tried one more time that night. Sent a long message. Apologies. Regrets. Pleading. Saying how she missed me. How she didn't realize what she had until it was gone. How she would have done anything to take it back. But it was too late. I blocked her number. Blocked her email. Blocked every avenue she had. A few weeks later, I heard through a mutual friend that she'd moved out of town. Couldn't handle the embarrassment. Couldn't face the people who knew what she did and how it ended. As for me, I started over. It wasn't easy. Picking up the pieces never is. But every day felt a little lighter. A little freer. You know, people always ask, if you hadn't found that diary, would you still be with her? Probably. And that's the scariest part. So let me ask you, if you found something like this, would you have done the same? Or would you have stayed? I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.